Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode.
Welcome back to part 2 of a 2-part episode. Be sure to go back and listen to part 1. You might have missed something. Hope you enjoy the conversation today. So give me your 5 best points and your 5 worst points that you still want to work on.
What we do really good, I think, is you almost call it touchless, because our machine only touches the shed at 3 places, 1 on the band board and 2 at the end of each skid. And so that's where all your pressure is. That's where all your, you can push a 14 by 48 and literally you're pushing on the strongest part of the shed, which is the skids, right? Mm-hmm. So you have those arms that go out, catch the skids, and that's the only thing you'll ever touch on that shed is those 3 places. Mm-hmm. So the touchless, I think, is going to be what people really like, especially like your vinyl shed customers, your metal sheds.
Absolutely.
Your guys who primarily sell, so whether that's in the Southeast or whatever, your guys who primarily sell metal-sided sheds, you're not crinkling metal. You can push a whatever size thing, and you're pushing on the strongest part of the building, which is your skids. And so I think those customers are going to just absolutely love our product because of it being touchless. And then also you get into, as we continue to develop it, you get into these cabins that are fully finished out, and you're pushing these things into stupid places, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to reinforce your gable walls so much and all that kind of stuff. But again, we're pushing on the strongest part of the building. And so I think that is going to be what people appreciate the most about our product. And, the second thing is we worked with a developer and created the app that runs this machine off of your cell phone. And so every machine that we sell will come with its own pre-programmed cell phone. Again,
not a cell phone, a device.
A device, yeah. It could be an iPad.
That runs on.
It could be.
Okay.
It could be in any, whatever a person wants, but it's going to be tethered to the machine. You don't need a cell phone service. So the one question we always get is, well, what if I'm in the backwoods of West Virginia and I ain't got no cell service? Well, you don't need cell service. You don't even cell plan. You just literally need a wireless device.
Yes.
To run the machine. So we're just using
because it kind
the
of creates its own signal.
It does.
Yeah.
It has a Wi-Fi.
Yeah, just like
connection.
my printer does.
That's
my
right.
printer puts out a signal. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is going to be huge because, it's going to be included, number one. It's not an extra thing you have to buy. It's, my driver, I would say 98% of the time he's using the wireless remote, the cell phone. He uses the sticks when he has to, but not very often.
Manual sticks?
There is manual sticks on it that do all the functions that are on the cell phone. So if for some reason, you forgot to charge your phone or you forgot to whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, what happens if my phone dies?
Well, I hope to, maybe get you a battery pack, right? You know what I mean?
Well, if I let my phone die, I might let my battery pack die too.
So if your phone dies, you're not stuck. You can
manually run everything
very, very well.
Yes.
And a lot of they're very progressive. That you just want just an inch here, you want a little half inch there. I mean, you just got all that fine touches with with both the sticks and with the app. So, that's going to be huge. And again, it's changing an industry, and we realize that. We realize that people want something. A question we get is, well, I want my fingers to feel where they should go, like on a hard remote, right? Well, you stick that thing in your hand, and that question gets answered pretty quickly. You're running for 5 minutes, and your fingers know where to go immediately. So we're changing an industry.
We went through that with the other remotes too. Any remote, it just takes a minute.
That's right.
I tell you, the hardest thing for me. So back to what Marlon said a long time ago, I delivered over 10,000 sheds without a mule. I delivered without a pine hill, without a scenic view, without any of them, creekside or none of them.
Yeah.
I had a 1982 homemade roller trailer that didn't even tilt.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, bless my heart. So even when I bought my first roller trailer that had a winch on the front and tilted up and down, I was scared
Yeah.
because I couldn't feel my buildings the way I normally could. Let me just put this out there. Feeling your buildings with an 8-foot LVL thrown in your shoulder and pushing them sideways is not the way to feel a building.
It's a tough way.
4-inch pipes.
How's your back?
Yeah, don't even ask. Anybody that follows me on Facebook says that's the most crippled up man. Like, I was literally 39 years old when the doc told me I'm in a 72-year-old body.
Oh, wow.
I have beat myself to death my whole life. And I actually get around fairly good, until you see me get out of Bessie after riding in her for 4 or 5 hours straight, and you're like, oh, that dude is old. So when I bought there was no mules. We weren't going to do that. I had a fancy trailer that I got that finally had sideways wheels, and you didn't need all the other stuff. Well, then I actually hired a driver because obviously I wasn't going to keep up. Just no way. And so I hired a driver, and we bought a mule, and it came with a remote. It was actually one of the first ones that had a remote on it. And those first couple, I don't know, a dozen or so of them were terrible. The electronics on them would just shut off in the middle of a street, and you couldn't get it to work. And I'd fuss back and forth, and we'd go back and forth and come back the next day, crank it up, and he'd run for a week and do it again. It's all part of R&D, It
is.
I have zero patience when I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, with a 14x40, and I got a street block and the mule dies. It's just like, no, we can't do this.
No.
We did. We got around it. But I remember when I first started using the remote to it, I couldn't feel the building.
Correct.
Like when I'm on one of them and I'm running, like even your machine, I promise you, I want to be on it and I want to feel it, and 100%. I can feel the building. You get to a point to where you can almost feel the building breathe. You're that connected to it.
You can feel what it's going to do before it does
Yeah.
it.
Now you get off of there and you go on a phone, and it's like, but I had that feeling before, so I can get past it.
Yeah.
So just because it's on a phone doesn't mean I can't get used to running it that way. My laptop, it's the same way. It's touch screen.
Yeah.
I can flip it all the way over and I can run it with my thumbs, or I can run my keyboard. And I use both.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to get used to the fact that I could touch it and use it that way and stuff happens. That's what you're talking about,
It is.
And when I first saw that, I was like, whoa, you talk about big. That's monumental in the fact that you're pushing technology as far as you can push it right now. And in 5 years from now, we're all going to be like, psh,
I know it.
what were we thinking there? I mean, it's like, anyway, sorry. I
firmly-
wanted to interrupt you on the phone part because that part of it's.
I feel like, and I may be completely wrong, but I feel like that technology that we're introducing on this machine will continue to change the industry.
It
because
will.
eventually you'll run your trailer off of that.
Yeah, that's
you
cool.
know, you'll run
Yeah.
other devices off of that. You'll run stuff that we're thinking about that, I don't want to put out right now, but like it's going to continue to change the industry.
Yeah,
that you can just all do it off your phone. So, and then also for myself personally, like I don't want to ruin my iPhone, right? So that's why we're sending another one that, hey, the phone gets crushed or whatever, we'll quickly send you another one.
Yeah,
It's going to be easy to replace. It's going to be, it's not your own personal one that's going to get muddy and wet.
You're going to put
and
magnets
all
on
that.
it to where we can stick it on our trailers and they fall off like
Why
we do
not?
all our other remotes.
Why not? We're going to, but I think that technology, because we were pressed pretty hard to say, hey, why don't you just scrap all that? Why don't you just go with a box? Why don't you just go with something? And I just said, you know what? If we're going to change, to be that different, I got to be different.
Let's just be
Like,
different. Yeah.
I got to do something different. And I think guys are going to like it. I think, man, I tell you, it's really cool once you actually feel it with your, on that little remote and that little cell phone. So I think it's going to change the industry. And I think you're going to continue to add to it. So, what if you had on your cell phone the same device controls your trailer, controls your mule, controls your Challenger, whatever. So I think it's going to be cool. And now that's technology that we don't own. We could if we wanted to be proprietary to it, but
I was gonna say
I'd need a
everything
lot
can
of
be owned.
investors. It would take a lot of investors to do that. But at this point, they're fantastic. You know what they're coming up with,
Yeah,
and they're going to continue to change industry with that technology. So I believe in it. I think it's going to be, now if the market proves me wrong, I'll say, hey, I'll be the first one to say, I was wrong. But
Hey,
I
always
believe in it.
yes. So one of the keys to being an entrepreneur is you're always looking for the next failure. If we would teach entrepreneurs that up front, that's okay. Failure is not the problem. It's getting back up and going again.
That's right.
The more times you fail, the closer you are to success. You know how many times that light bulb was tried before it worked?
10,000?
Most people freak out about stuff like that. We just turn a light on, it's like it works. Such a simple thing took that long to figure out. I am an entrepreneur. And I'm always, tell me I can't do it, or let's see why that doesn't work. It gets expensive. Sometimes it's too expensive, but
That's why some of us are just broke all the time, because we're always doing what people can't do.
I guess. But so I love that part of it. So the touchless part, the phone part, what else? How do you feel about it as far as what it can perform? What can it perform like as far as the environment it's in? It's easy to deliver sheds in Arthur, Illinois. It's flat as a pancake. You're not in Arthur, Illinois. You're in the mountains. All right. What have you? Yeah. What have you seen? Okay. I'll play devil's advocate for a minute and be some of the bad guys on there. The tracks are going to pop off. It's not going to be able to go up a hill. It's not going to work sideways. What are your answers to some of those things? Unlock the power of productivity with Cardinal Leasing. Are you looking to elevate your business operations with top-tier equipment? Look no further than Cardinal Leasing. We offer a wide range of reliable and high-quality equipment tailored to meet your unique needs. Flexible leasing options. Whether you need short-term rentals or long-term solutions, our customizable leasing plans are designed to provide maximum flexibility and affordability. Conventional financing available. Cardinal Leasing also offers great conventional finance options for those of you that prefer that over-lease purchase options. Expert support. Our team of experienced professionals is here to guide you every step of the way, ensuring a seamless leasing experience. Boost efficiency. With our top-of-the-line equipment, you can enhance productivity, reduce downtime, and achieve your business goals faster. Why choose Cardinal Leasing? Competitive rates, exceptional customer service, hassle-free process, quick and easy approvals. Don't let outdated equipment hold you back. Partner with Cardinal Leasing today and take your business to the next level. Contact us now. Visit our website at equipment.cardinalleasing.us or call us at 618-803-4086 to get started.
So we've only had a year of testing it, and I will say my driver prefers to deliver shed off the trailer. So he will do everything he can to get it there without getting the machine off. So, but the situations that we get into, it does, as far as, wet, soggy. I mean, it's got tremendous grip. And the reason for that, and I think I showed you, but you just transfer the weight. It has so many options to transfer the weight. So you're on a hill, and you transfer the weight to your top track to give that more traction, or you wanted to with the front of the tracks to bite in versus the back. You just shift the weight forward or shift the weight back, and it can get up hills. It can get because of some of those features. It's going to take a little bit of a learning process, and for that reason, we hope to do a little bit of training with everybody who buys these things, because hey, you can do this. That it speaks a new language, Sam, because what we're finding is that people are going to come into this thing and they're asking questions. Well, why don't you have the straps? Why don't you have this, that, and the other? And I'm saying, you're talking Spanish, bro. We're talking English here because you're talking a different language because we do it so differently.
Yeah.
It's just the stuff that, the mule does, we don't need to do it that way. Because I remember one guy looked at us and said, why doesn't it have this? And I said, I don't really know what you're talking about because we don't need it.
Hey, you
it
don't need
literally does not need it.
Yeah.
Because it's all the weight is seated on those forks and all the weight is seated on those tracks. And at that point, what can't go wrong?
So in our defense, it's what we've got used to.
Exactly.
I could bring up Tesla right now. We can talk about this for an hour if you want to. I love it. I'm happy to talk. Now you got to understand, Bessie. If you're traveling behind Bessie's my truck. I don't know if you follow me on Facebook, but it's more than a pickup truck. It's my prayer room. It's my office.
Yeah.
It's so much. I'm a little bit anal when it comes to my personal vehicle because so much happens in there for me. But the fact is, when Bessie and I get fed up with somebody, we pretty much can lose anybody because they can't see where they're going anymore. And the people are like, oh, well, yeah, black coal just means it's unused power. Well, fine. You can come up beside her and prove me wrong. But at the same time, I'm an American. I love God, I love guns, and I love my country. And I love black smoke. Teslas are the next thing on my list. Go figure that one out. Because I don't care about green. I don't care about. I know the whole green thing. There's stuff behind it that I don't like. I absolutely hate. And the push towards what they're trying to do, I do not agree with. That's not what they're about.
Yeah.
And if you ever get in one, you ever drive one, you might just change your mind about some stuff. Will I ever have one to haul buildings and something? No, I'm probably never going to get to that point. I don't know. They might prove me wrong on that one day with the battery system they come up with that can actually produce the amount of power that I need and still go all day long. I don't know. Probably. It might happen. But the fact is, to sit here and say that Bessie has 800 horsepower and there's no need to ever change from that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is.
We should always be looking for something better, but we get comfortable and we know how to run what we run. So I guess this is a pep talk to you two. That when you do throw that out there on the page, and half of them, are the shed hauler page, for those that don't keep up with the page, you got some pretty heavy negative comments back on it. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just scrolling through them. I'm like, I could answer all of these. I really could. I'm not going to. Number one, we need competition. Competition's good for all of us.
Yeah.
Number two, we get so comfortable in doing it in a way we're used to that even if there's a better way, we can't wrap our heads around it. So you just got to push through it.
Yeah.
You don't worry about that.
I fully realize that you guys, I say you guys, you shed haulers, have a language, have a way of thinking, and we're coming in with this thing, and I mean, referring to the page, like, I love those comments. Like, there's not a single comment on there that I didn't read and say, oh, that's just the dumbest thing.
It was amazing.
It's because it's like, oh,
that was
maybe I
amazing.
never thought about that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like, oh, yeah, that's we're not sitting here saying we've reinvented the wheel or anything. Like, we're just coming up with another option. We're coming up with another way of doing it. And so those comments are fantastic. And there's a lot of skepticism. There's a lot of love there too.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think it's just going to take a thing so where I'm saying, hey, put another pitch out there. Our coming out party is in September at the Shed Expo.
That's going to be
come
cool.
see it, because we're going to have some a lot more answers for you. We're going to have some promos and all that kind of stuff that you can actually touch and feel and see it in action. So,
Did you talk Marty into letting you build your whole stage on a slope?
did not talk to him about that, but we're going to have some videos and answer that question.
Yeah.
Because I think when people actually see it, because just a couple features that I showed you guys before the show here was like, Oh, wow. Yeah, now I understand it.
Yeah.
But to tell somebody that, it's like, bro, I'm talking to you in English and you're understanding it in Spanish.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it
Yeah,
just doesn't work.
It does. That does happen a lot. Well, and we always say pictures don't do anything justice. We're always
Right.
talking about that.
Yeah.
That's okay. Worst things. What are you still working on? Like what do you see that you want to improve on?
Refining the app would be one of the top concerns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just making that. Now again, we're fixing to send the machine and the app and everything up to get reprogrammed and
Okay.
add a sensor, you know, for the mass sensor, so that it truly is touchless. And
Yep.
so what I'm hearing, he's saying you're going to even love this even more, because when it went from version 1 of the app, I mean, it was pretty rough. I mean, it was like
Jerky.
the valves were on and the valves were off. There was not much of progression there.
Yes. Yeah.
So then we come to version 2, and it's like, oh my goodness, you got, like, if you just need an inch, you got it. Now version 3, they say, is going to be an even more of, you know, more refining and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I would say the app is something we're going to continue to refine. But man, from there, we're just going to figure out what else this thing can do. Because I mean, we're not even talking about, you know, picking up a little, you know, a coop. Let's say you want to deliver a chicken coop.
Yep.
Well, we got fork extension for this thing, and let's just drive the thing and put it in
Pick
your
it up.
backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way you're going to do that with anything else out there on the market.
Mm-hmm.
How about, you know, you get into a space where I can get my trailer there, but I can't get my truck and trailer. We'll just unhook your truck, and we've got a little ball attachment that we're going to put on there.
Mm-hmm.
You just pick up the whole trailer with the machine, and now you've got a little power unit.
Yeah.
So I would say, as far as with where we're at right now, man, there's just a couple things that we want to keep on working on.
Get touched up a little bit.
And just to say, but as far as, you know, percentage wise, I mean, I'm going to say we're pretty high, you know, close in the 90% somewhere of saying this thing is really close. And we just maybe need to make a couple tweaks. What do you think, Marlon?
Yeah, one thing that I remember was a comment too from people. Well, where do you stand on this thing?
Uh-huh.
So that's an idea that could easily be
Yep.
taken
Yep.
care of. We can easily make a little platform just to hang on the back there. It won't be permanent because the machine is long enough the way it is without something else sticking out the back yet.
Well,
But the stand-on could easily be done.
I've kind of always wondered about that. If we wouldn't, so I've got some guys in the lawn care business, and a lot of them. So it's crazy. The culture is changing a little bit. At least down by us, you see more and more guys standing on the back of mowers instead of sitting on them because they're worried about their health. They're worried about being more active. It's easier on and off to do stuff. And even your high-end expensive mowers are going back to where you can have the stand on the back option. But most of them, it's this little just lock-on thing, and you can pop it on and off wherever you want to. And it's the same thing. And some of them fold up even just to where when you're loading and unloading, it's out of the way. You got the same thing. You know, when you load it up on the back of the truck, you don't want a platform sticking out there.
Right.
I like that idea that it's an attachment. Don't make it like it doesn't have to be a part of it.
Right.
The other thing is I'm suspicious when I get used to running the phone, the remote for it, I'm not even going to be on it much. So I had actually go back to me and my remote story. I got to where I hardly ever rode mine. Mm-hmm. I was always on the ground. And a lot of times I would even have that thing unloaded and rolling up the driveway when I go beat on the door. It's just cruising up through here, you know, and they come out and they're like, whoa, what's going on, you know? Repos, I picked repos up where I never got out of the truck.
Wow.
When a repo goes down and you got to get it, and you know the whole thing about hey, you can't be on my property. Well, I'm not even
Just send the mule in.
Send the mule in there, sit in the truck.
Right.
I did that many a time. Of course, we used to do it with trailers too, without getting out. Just back up, load them, and pull out, and then So we've done that kind of stuff. So I do see a trend where we're getting back to where we don't. Obviously, we've never sat on them anyway. But I never rode on it much anyhow. Mm-hmm. But it was nice to have it when I needed to. And I like the idea of just being able to clip it on. Mm-hmm. So the reason I asked where are you at as far as what you want to see finished yet or whatever, how does it feel to come from an idea to knowing you're within the 90s of having it where you want it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything.
I really, it's deep.
Yeah, it is. Because you know what I'm saying?
You feel that deep because you go from something to where, I mean, who knows how the market's going to respond, right? And I'm saying this back in 17 and 18 and 19. I'm saying, who knows? Because our goal was always to bring it to production. But then you're like, how's the market going to respond? You know, what's it going to do? You know, and again, we still don't know how it's going to respond. But I'm saying, man, just it's a really good to see it when you have a little bit of patience with stuff, and can just continue to develop it and continue to develop it. And again, we may look back in 5 years and be laughing our heads off at the prototype 2. What we think is pretty good because we're going to continue to develop it, and we're going to continue to put new features. We're going to continue to do it better, and we want to come up with new ways of changing our industry, and we're talking about some more of those things. And so, but yeah, man, to get it from concept on paper to like we're actually doing something with it. And I will tell you this, my driver has been crucial in all this because I sat him down at the office one time because he was having frustrations with prototype 1. And I just felt bad for him, because it's like, that he's gone through all kinds of stuff so that we're proving a concept.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, well, hey, here's our options. We're at a fork in the road. We're at a Y. The one road says we just scrap everything that we've done. Just literally put it to bed, throw it over the cliff. It's just a bad idea, right? Or we have something, we're just going to perfect it. And I said, which one do you want? And he said, the concept works. I think you're onto something. Let's go down the road of let's continue to perfect it.
Yeah.
And so if at that moment of time, if he'd have said, you know what, it's just a bad idea. This thing's awful.
Let's get a mule.
Yeah, we would have just scrapped it all and thrown it away. Yeah. But because he's the guy that needs to tell us that because he's using it. And I'm telling you the stuff that he's had to put up with on some of these developments and prototype 1. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, we're going to put pictures out there of what, but I mean, the thing is awful.
Yeah.
And the I don't know, the pumps didn't work or whatever, the levers didn't work. And, but to get from that to giving him a machine that's reliable, I mean, it's a great feeling because he's put up with so much. And, because these things, again, R&D is just, you don't know, it's not a good idea until you test it, until you put it on
it's
the
absolutely.
ground.
Yep, I'm working on some myself, and it's like I just want to get to test level. I mean, I want to go out and see if it'll fail or work, or what works and what doesn't.
But it's kind of like you're so close, you can almost taste it. Like you're just like almost, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We're probably a little bit over, but there for a little while it was just like, man, I wanted so bad to be at your last bash.
Oh yeah,
I pushed and shoved to be at the one this year. I said we gotta go.
It would have been ahead of time.
It would have been way ahead of time. Yeah. The thing wasn't refined at that point yet.
Yep.
It's just not what we wanted to put out yet. But I wanted
That's a good
so
point.
bad because I could just feel these guys coming up and it was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't the time. And so it brings back so many memories of discussions that Morona had in this house. Because I work over here. I used to work a lot over here. You say 2 hours, but I did. I did a lot of horse barn sites over here and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
But Merle and I, we would sit up here in his living room and just chew this stuff. I mean, we would chew and chew.
Yeah.
What about this? What about that? It brings back a lot of memories.
What's funny is that this thing ebbed and flowed like tremendously. You think it's going, and it just didn't go. And then
it was immense.
I mean, I remember some of that stuff, and I'm like, where's it at? It used to be the Rhino. That was her first name, was the Rhino, right?
I wish y'all would have stuck with that because I love rhinos.
I think it'll be a nickname for it. I honestly do. I think because
the
it's in our logo.
Because it has that mask sticking up like the
horn
on the Rhino.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, I told y'all that years ago I read that book about being a rhinoceros in a cow cud chewing world.
Yeah.
And when you just start the visual picture of that, I'd be all for it. But
that was intentional, going with that rhino. Because when you think of a rhino, like say, I've never read the book, but I mean, you're just talking solid. You're talking beefy. You're talking
nothing stops
and
them.
At that point, that's kind of what we're hoping to, create some of that stuff. But yeah, just the ebbs and flows of that. It's
It
like
really
man, sometimes
was.
you thought the thing was dead. I mean, it's like
Nothing
This
happening.
idea is not going anywhere.
And the thing
I
sat in my
remember
shop for months sometimes. It's
I
like nothing
know
happened.
that. Oh, do I ever know that feeling?
There was a moment that I had last year though, where it was at the point of saying, I don't know how to continue to take it on.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm
hit
a
those.
part of a book club, 10-member book club, and I just brought it to them guys because that's what we do: share ideas, wins and losses, or whatever. Go through books and we learn together. And I just put it out there, and these guys just said, "Do what? Where has this thing been? Like, why don't we know about this?" But I mean, that's been very intentional because I didn't want to get anything out there because we had to go through the patent process, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, we're patent pending now. As soon as that came out, it was like, okay, now we can get this thing out there.
Yeah.
But I remember those guys were also crucial in the stages of saying, why aren't you doing more? Like, what? How can we help you get this thing out? Because I think you're ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all crucial. I look at just the items that we've had to go through and, our talks, Marlon and I, and then it's, I talked about our guy, the shed hauler, and, if he just said, no, we're not sitting here today, Sam. So
Shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Right.
And so it's pretty huge. And again, with the favor of God, I believe that there's nothing that can go against that.
So is your hauler under wraps, or can he be made known public?
Oh, he's not under wraps.
Who's your hauler?
Crash Esch.
Yep.
You know Crash?
Oh, and I know of him. I
Yeah.
don't think I know him personally, so to speak. But
It's ironic that that is his nickname. So
yeah, probably
I-
couldn't find a better guy.
what I don't do though is call my customers up and say,
I'm
"Hey,
sending Crash.
Yeah,
How's that go over?
because it's not his nature at all. He is the best, smoothest, calmest. Just you won't hear from the guy unless And so he's been amazing.
I've seen some of your video footage of him. It looks like he's always up for a challenge,
He is.
which you have to be as a hauler.
Oh,
period.
my.
I mean, you're
Make it
not
happen.
you're not going to make it.
But go to our
if you don't,
reviews,
but,
and it's just Amos this, it's Amos that, it's Amos that.
that's
Amos
cool.
did a good day. The driver, it's just like, oh my goodness, what are you gonna?
Yeah.
That's invaluable.
They don't show up every day.
No.
No, it's hard. Because I have that page and I'm blessed to be known by 10,000 people is my favorite expression to use. I get calls all the time. Of anybody looking for a hauler position? They're looking to hire somebody to haul sheds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just can't hire just anybody to haul
They're
sheds.
a
That's
special
exactly
breed.
right.
You can go through some people maybe, but it is, Introducing the Challenger, the revolutionary new shed mover that's taking the industry by storm. The Challenger features a touchless design, ensuring it only makes contact at the end of the skids and the bottom of the floor joists, so rest easy knowing your gable walls will remain pristine. Worried about reliability? Fear not, the Challenger is always up for the challenge and will not overturn or scuff your shed. Harness the power of innovative wireless technology. Remotely control the Challenger via your smartphone. No cell service needed. And guess what? The cell phone remote comes standard with every Challenger at no extra cost. Featuring floating forks, a 4-directional tilting mast, and sliding weight transfer, move the shed weight precisely where you need it to get ultimate traction. With self-loading capability, straight onto your truck, say goodbye to the need for a hydraulic carriage. The Challenger makes your job easy and more efficient. Choose from 2 machine sizes, 10,000 pounds and 15,000 pounds. Perfect for any job. Visit us at the Shed Expo in Michigan this September. Find us at booth 552. Don't miss out. Visit www.shedchallenger.com or email us at info@challenger.com. www.shedchallenger.com or call or text 828-220-3508 for more information. Experience the future of shed moving with the Challenger. Yeah, I think it got hot. For those of y'all that are wondering what's going on, the camera died again. I don't knock on builders. I am a builder. I can build anything. You give me a saw and a tape measure and a nail gun, I dream up some crazy stuff. I have a woodworking shop. Most people don't even know about. But I can pretty much teach anybody to build. As long as you got a little work ethic, you can build. I have tried to teach guys to haul sheds. Have tried. And have
You
failed.
either have it or don't.
Miserably. You either have it or you don't. There's so many variables to it, and then you throw in, you got to be customer relatable.
Exactly.
Because you're dealing with customers all
100%.
the time, and it's a mountain to climb sometimes to get to that.
You can be taught to fly an airplane,
Yeah.
but you got to feel a helicopter to fly it.
Yeah, true.
That's where that saying comes, the seat of your pants.
Yep.
It comes from the helicopter.
Yeah, from the helicopter
You literally
guy.
feel
Yes.
the
Yep, you
helicopter
can-
doing it in the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
And
I used this. I made a post. Well, I was talking with one of the really big manufacturers, one of their reps last week, and we were trying to have a conversation why shed hauler pilot cars cost more than over the road pilot car drivers. And we kind of make a joke of it on the page. A lot of people call them escort drivers. They're not. They're pilot car drivers, but we call them escort drivers. And all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, they are kind of escorts because they do so much more than a pilot does. A pilot trains and trains and trains and learns how to fly a plane. And what do you do when you get on a plane? Pilot comes in, goes in the seat, flies you, lands, goes back out. He does nothing else. An escort shows up and is with you through the whole process.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah.
That's the difference in a pilot car driver that hauls big, huge, oversized loads down the interstate versus one that'll actually show up on a little bitty country road where the manufacturer is, get you out on a big road, run you down the big road, get you back off in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
Running down the wrong side of the road in Charleston because the trees don't fit on the other side, so you literally just drive straight into traffic. Used to do that.
Yeah.
And then back across the median, you go to the other side. Shout out to Andrew Vess, who you probably know. Those pilot car drivers that are running for, $250 minimum, $2 a mile, they won't do that stuff.
Yeah.
And they're for sure not going to hang around and help you get the building set in somewhere.
Right.
And they're not going to sling any block. You get a really good hauler pilot car driver and he does stuff like that, he needs to be paid good because he's worth having around.
Yeah.
It's different. You can take a truck driver and you can, if he has the right stuff, you can make a shed hauler out of him, but not all truck drivers make shed haulers.
Yeah.
It's just a given.
Yeah.
Very true.
What do you, we're basically good to wrap up. What do you, anything either one of you guys want to throw out there? Something that I haven't asked you, want to ask me something? You're welcome to do that. What do you want to do in wrap up? Do you have anything you want to let everybody know about?
I would say one thing would be that we're currently working on webpage development, marketing.
Yeah.
So be
And
on the
boy,
lookout for that.
you found you got the top of the mountain.
We got them.
when you got your marketing
I got
guy.
to tell you that story.
Yeah, I want to. Okay, this is good.
Yeah, this is a good story.
Yeah.
I was having chills that day because, again, some of these things I just don't look at. I believe that God directs every area of our life, every decision, everything. And so I tried to work with a local guy here for marketing and photos, video, whatever, drone shots. And he came back with just the craziest answer I've ever heard. Like, it was just bizarre. And at that point, I'm saying, okay, whatever, dude, And that thing kind of shut down. I'm just saying, I'm just kind of waiting around, like, where do I go from here? And then that time, James puts the videos out, the photos out, and Shannon had already worked with Creekside with James, and so they're aware of him, and it helped him build his website and stuff. And And James and I have a conversation that day. And James was like, hey, why don't you call those Shed Geek guys? Like, they could help you out with the website and all that stuff. So that afternoon, I called Shannon. He picks up the phone. Props to him. Man, I tell you, those guys are good to get a hold of. And he picks up the phone, and I said, hey, related to James, and so I'm calling because we need some help. And Shannon went into this thing, well, he's got something good going on, doesn't he? And Dylan and him, I guess, had just gone out for lunch. And at lunchtime that day, they said, we need to reach out to James and see if we can help him with this new product that he's gone on. I said, well, that's the reason for the phone call, because we're kind of the guys behind it, and we want to work with you. Can you help us?
Yeah.
And at that moment, he was just like, oh, my goodness,
What?
this is crazy.
No way.
And I'm just sitting there, like I say, there's goosebumps going, because I'm like, you can't make that stuff up.
No.
And you can't make this up. And, it's just, again, we're super excited about getting the product out there. But, feedback, we're not saying, hey, we've perfected it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just saying, man, I think there's a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
I think we just want to present this to you guys and say, how are you going to respond? How's the market going to respond?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, after we are done with this, we're going to go out and push some buildings around, and we want you to, understand
We're
the
gonna have some
process,
fun.
and we're going to put the things, push it up hills, go on the side of hills, and, we're going to do that kind of stuff. And for you guys to be able to understand it, because, so that's a really cool story, how that connection happened with Shed Geek. And man, I tell you, I think we're on to something special, because Dylan's probably pretty much more excited about being here today than I am, because he's like, I got to see this thing, and I'm like, to work with that kind of excitement on both, it's just, we're very blessed. I'll tell you that. That's a tremendous honor to work with you guys. And,
Dylan's the bomb.
And like you
it's
said, for
just
you
incredible.
to be sitting here, taking your time and sitting here and doing this, we're very grateful.
I
glad to be here.
I would like to say this yet too. Ever since this idea was conceived out in Colorado, where we were sitting at a family gathering, I always told Merle, I said, one thing we got to do first, before we do any marketing, we got to get Sam Byler and Jason Kaufman on board.
Oh, boy.
I said, if those two get behind it and they believe in it, we're good to go.
The cat's out of the bag now, bro.
You were really pushing it back then, because Jason wasn't even on board with a mule, period.
No, he wasn't.
No,
That's exactly
he was
right.
not. He was.
I
in
know
fact,
all that story.
I have an old video in 2018 at the Montana Bash of him riding around on a mule.
I've seen those videos.
Yeah.
And I grew up with Jason too.
Oh yeah,
in Bedford.
yeah, that's true, in Bedford.
But
yeah,
anyway,
you would have.
that's what I always said. And so I'm very honored, Sam.
Well, thank
Even
you.
though this is the first day I've met you in person,
Yeah,
I feel like I know you.
yeah, we've been around a while.
Yeah, and
that's good.
What I see in your posts, the way you handle the whole shed haulers brotherhood, the way you respond to these guys out here that haul sheds, and don't haul sheds. You juggle all those things, and I feel that coming from your heart and your posts, and so I'm honored
Thank
to be
you.
able to meet you.
And I'm
I
honored
feel
to be
I feel
here.
a kindred spirit.
Oh,
in many
absolutely.
ways.
Yes.
I think you and I, we probably wouldn't get along in business, but we're alike in many respects.
Many ways.
I think.
Yep. I agree.
And
I can pick up
Merle,
on that.
Merle put it right on. He said, I'm more the mover shaker, and through it all, Merle has been he's been the steady one. I get into something and I just do it. If it wouldn't be for Merle, we wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
I can put it that way.
Yeah.
So in one sense, we need each other.
Yeah,
because
that's absolutely.
I have the
That's
shop
great.
where we did the first prototype. Looks like a beast, but the idea works. My son Levon made it. So
you have to start.
we had to start.
Yeah.
But if it wouldn't been for Merle, we wouldn't be here today. I don't have that. I don't have that kind of business finesse as Merle does. Merle's the businessman. So I want to give a shout out to him.
I never
And a
had
shout out to God. God is receiving
absolutely.
the glory.
Yeah. I never had a Merle, so I had to become a Merle when I need to be.
Yeah, well,
which I do not enjoy whatsoever. But
Yeah.
I do it when I need to.
You visionary guys are, if you don't have that implementer right beside you, it's like, my goodness, you just create 1,000 dust storms, and the dust settles, and What happened?
Well, a lot of times the dust never settles.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invite up. And thank you for being my official first sponsor. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. I don't know if Shannon told you.
We are grateful to do that.
I'm starting to scoop up some other ones, but you guys managed to sneak in and be the first one.
Well, thank you.
We're looking for sponsors for the Shed Gal is doing Mondays. She calls it Magnificent Mondays, I think, because I called it Friday Fun Day. So she had to come up with something better, you know. We all know fun days are better than magnificent days, but it's all good. But yeah, we're always looking for sponsors for people to be able to have a platform. Shannon has created a huge platform
Very much.
for people to be able to share their stories on, to be able to educate people, to be able to show people what they're doing. It's incredible. And I always say this, I'm the first guy that told them it ain't going to work. I remember exactly where we were at, riding around in a little red car when I told him that. I'm like, you're crazy. Nobody listens to podcasts. And Lord has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Because he brought that all the way back around to me. Now here I am doing podcasts.
That is hilarious.
So, yeah, again, thank you so much. I'm
Thank
looking
you, Sam.
forward to being here and hanging out. Dylan just walked up here, and he looks like he's ready to go do something. So we're going to go work on your, what do we call it? Is it a commercial? We're going to work on their marketing product. Probably is a fancier way to say it. Thank y'all for listening today. As always, I appreciate each one of you for taking the time to listen. I don't know if you're driving up and down the road, what you're doing, or if you're sitting in a nice, cool office. But thanks for listening to us. It's always an honor and a pleasure. See y'all next time.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.